Thanks for clicking your way to another edition of Inside IU Volleyball with Sherry Dunbar. I'm Cody Sherritt. Coach, being in Indiana, it's the most wonderful time of the year. March Madness. It just happened to be the Sweet 16, and your team got to the Sweet 16 last November and December in the volleyball tournament.
Yeah, I love March. I grew up watching so much college basketball. It really is one of my very favorite sports to watch. So I didn't get a lot done. I went recruiting on Saturday, but yesterday I was in front of the TV the whole time. And, you know, it's interesting, though, because we talk a lot about how good the Big Ten is in volleyball and how you just want to get in the tournament and then we feel like we're prepared to play. And you look at a team like Virginia Commonwealth, who was in that first four that they talk about for basketball that had to play their way actually into the NCAA tournament. And now they're going to the Sweet 16 and beat Purdue last night convincingly. So it's nice to see, you know, I mean, once you get into that tournament, anything can happen. And you can see the parity really in men's basketball. So it's been fun to watch.
What parallels do you find between the men's basketball tournament and the women's volleyball tournament?
Yeah, you know, I do think our sports are similar in the parity. I think unlike women's basketball, for instance, if you saw some of those first rounds, lots of blowouts and things like that, and now you're looking at men's basketball, and I would say 3/4 of the scores were within 4 to 6 points. And so it's really nice to see the competition from various conferences, and I think you see that a lot in volleyball now too, from top to bottom in a lot of leagues, very competitive. So it's nice to see that in both sports.
We didn't have an episode last week as IU was on spring break. Coach, the team was gone. How did you spend your spring break?
I know the kids always think we get spring break off too, but in the real world you actually work. So recruiting, you know, I was in Texas for 5 days, in Chicago a couple of days, seeing some of our incoming kids for this next year. And then a lot of catch up in the office, which is good, you know, without the kids around, and it's quiet in Assembly Hall right now. So my assistants and I did a lot of catching up for when the kids did come back today. So, and had our first spring practice, you know, back in the gym this morning, and always a little rusty to start with, but they were very tan and hopefully very energetic and ready to be back at it and finish strong this spring semester.
So at least you got to travel a little bit.
A little bit. A little warmer weather in Texas, so that was nice. And like I said, Chicago, I always enjoy going there. And we have a lot of kids come from Chicago. It's the perfect distance, really, because you feel like you're going away from home, but you know, it's nice because you can always drive back home. It's an easy 4-hour drive. So it was nice to see them play this past weekend.
Our last episode, we were just starting spring team practice. You guys go hard for a week, and then you're interrupted by spring break.
Yeah.
How hard is that, having that interruption in there?
Yeah, I don't really like the interruption. I mean, obviously I wish we could keep going, but I think for the kids it's a mental and a physical break. So for them, I think that they really cherish that week and kind of get to relax and just have fun with their teammates and their friends. But now, you know, like I told them this morning after practice, you know, we really can't waste any time. We only have 5 weeks left. So every day is an opportunity for us to get better and especially get better as a team right now. So yeah, we are just trying to get back at it, and every day right now is that big chance for us to really prepare for fall.
What types of things is the team working on in practice? You have the spring schedule opening up soon, April 2nd in Louisville. What types of things are you guys working on?
This morning we talked a lot about, I think one of the things we haven't been as good at in the 4 years I've been here is our hitting percentage. And I think when you look at the top teams in the country or even in the Big Ten, hitting percentage-wise, we're still not up to where we want to be. So it's more about making good decisions with shots and off-type sets and not perfect sets. So we worked on that a lot today, and we're going to work on that throughout the rest of the spring. Really been focusing on our swing blocking. You know, we implemented that last spring, and so we've really spent a lot of time. And it's a technique that takes a lot of time, so we've really focused in on that. And then serving. We spend probably 15 to 20 minutes a day doing a lot of serving. I think if you can, especially in the Big Ten, take teams out of system and get, you know, so we can control it with our defense a little bit more. So we're trying to be very, very aggressive with our serve and work on Sam Thrower is doing a jump floater this spring for the first time in her career here, and working with some different people on some different serving techniques to make them more aggressive.
And talking about Sam, one of the things I find amazing when I've been to practice is Taylor Wittmer. Her eligibility is up here at IU, but she's sticking around, kind of mentoring Sam to ease the transition.
Yeah, Taylor's fantastic. When we were in individual practices, she came in every single time Sam had practice, And now with spring training, she's in 2 days a week and comes in and goes through the full practice and competes against Sam and just helps us out in practice. And it's, it's fantastic just because she's such a good kid, and she was such a good middle blocker for us. And so to have a mentor like that in practice, I think Sam definitely appreciates it. And I think it's a good transition for Taylor. I think sometimes it's very hard when you're a senior and you finish your season and then you're done. And it's kind of that abrupt ending and you don't know what to do with yourself. And so for her, I think this is a nice transition out. And then, of course, Ashley's out in California and we'll be back in a couple weeks. So, so she's kind of still playing and everything. So it's not as hard for her as it was for Taylor. And then Martina, our undergraduate student assistant that will graduate, is actually doing an internship with us. So she's in practice every day and then helping us in the office. So it's nice to have these kids still around. We cherish every minute we'll have with them because soon they'll be gone. So it's nice to still have them involved with the program.
And I talked to Taylor and Sam about their special bond.
I think it's just that I want to help them get better, and I know Sam is my position and she's the only one in here, so it's really hard for her to kind of do all the drills on her own. So it kind of gives her a break for me to switch in and out with her and help her get better.
It means the world for her to come back right now. I've had a couple practices without her, and it's really, really hard, but she's in there working hard with me every day, continuing to make me better, and I love her for it.
I think it's just we want to carry on a tradition, and Sam knows that. And we showed her kind of, especially this year, that you can be a leader. And with her being the only upperclassman middle, she's going to have to kind of take on that role where Ashley and I have kind of always had that role. So she's not really had to do that before. But she knows how to do it, and I think that it's important for us to show her how to do that.
Well, that's it for this week's edition of Inside IU Volleyball with Sherry Dunbar. We want to remind you all to come out to U Gym April 9th at 11 a.m. as the team will scrimmage Purdue.
Yeah, it's nice. You can play in tournaments or just have one opponent come in and Purdue someone, obviously. It's a big rival, but it's just very fun because they're very competitive and they're close to us. So we can do some wash-type scrimmage drills and then actually do, some parts of a match. And so I think it'll be really fun for people to come out and just see kind of what we've been doing this spring. And just when they're missing volleyball, they can come out and see a little bit of volleyball too.
Once again, thanks for joining me, Coach Dunbar. I'm Cody Sherritt. Thanks for watching.